So, all right. So I guess I'll start with, saying good morning and seeing if anybody has anything that they wanted to share or talk about, or is there before we, it's like a morning check-in. So, oh, okay. Hi, Sandy. You want to unmute yourself? Let's see. Oh, there you are. Can you hear? Can we hear you?
Okay, how's that?
Oh, beautiful.
So I've sort of finished it. I don't think I'm going to add any background. Originally I did want to, but I like the white space, so I think I'm going to sit with that and just start now,
I like the white space too.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I colored it very lightly, as you can see. It's all like pastel watercolor pencils.
Right.
And so that's that. First project. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Is there anybody else? So Lynn has her mandala going. Oh, beautiful.
I don't know what to do about that zigzag part. Do you have any suggestions?
Around the edge?
Yeah.
You don't like it?
I do, but I don't know if I should put more stuff in there or leave it be, or.
Are you gonna fill the center white space?
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Okay, so I would leave it be for now, and then when you have your center white space filled in, then you can make that decision if it looks like it's too stark, like too black and white, or if it works in. What do you think? I don't know if anybody else has any other advice for that.
That's work on this area and then go back to that. Okay.
I would.
All right.
It looks like a quilt or a sewn piece. It has that look, and then zigzag looks like a zigzag. There's a ribbon or there's a binding that comes in a zigzag. It looks like it could be a pillow or a quilt. So kind of cool.
Really beautiful.
Thank you.
That's great. So, Patty. Oh, Patty did a mandala. Owner's iPad. You wanna? Okay. So, wait to get all. You're on mute. Listen. She's still muted.
I see.
Okay.
I'm only halfway done.
Yeah, but how do you, so this is your first mandala, right?
No, I've done a mandala before.
Okay. So,
but I did Nancy, use cans. I used everything in the pantry.
Yeah.
Cans and glasses to make my circles because I didn't have your fancy compass.
I know, right?
But I'm having fun anyway. I'm glad
it's so happy.
To tell you the truth, I have some confusion sometime about when to put black, when to put gray, when to put shading. Any suggestions about how you decide? I just use pencil a little bit.
Yeah.
But anything you can say about shading, appreciate. Thank you.
Okay. I think you're good. I mean, I think that's such a happy mandala. Like it has such a spring kind of feel to it.
Oh, with my flowers and stuff, you mean?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, and I also use dimes, nickels, quarters.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever looking for circle ideas, I have my my 4 coins. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I think Robin is, who else? Robin, you had, yeah.
I had, what I did was the bird, which was your template.
Right.
And unmute, wait a minute.
You're good. I can hear you.
Yeah, but I have okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This was too stark, so I did a ribbon going around of, trees and flowers and stuff. Just an idea for I don't know your name, the one who showed out the backyard thing, if you feel you want to do something around it. To me, mine was too stark white, so I wanted to fill it in.
Right. So I love,
and then I did
So Robin, are you thinking about putting color in that dove?
I don't know. I also did this one which included the mandala.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you
the
had
whole
some.
thing is very, yeah, it's very busy. But
I love it.
I kind of like, yeah. I don't know if
So,
I'm doing color. I
well,
want to see what you showed today.
that's good. So that timing is good for that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about color today. So good. Okay. Is there anybody else that wanted to share? Who's next? So, hi.
So I gotta switch my camera, right? Okay, so I finished my bike and I
Oh.
added the extra dark spot that you had suggested. And I
Yeah.
didn't know the third one, I can't hold it up and my finger at the same, like do a third one in here or just
Yeah.
leave?
You could do, or you could at least get that shape on the and in once in the other wheel.
Okay, oh, in this wheel?
Yeah. Just to kind of balance it out for symmetry. But I love the sun, like that, it has such a dream catcher feel to it in the corner.
Yeah. And I just painted in sky.
Yeah. Well, are you happy with it? It's beautiful.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm sorry that I thought that I was doing this as my practice because now I know I can't duplicate it.
Well, you know what? You can photocopy it on nicer paper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can just, or
Okay.
even like photo paper. If you copied it on photo paper, you'd have a really nice image.
Okay.
So,
And
yeah.
I have the same question as Patty about the idea of, I never know when to shade or go dark or that kind of thing. And I started a second one, and which is on good paper.
Wow. Okay. Nice.
And I was wondering about what kind of border, like if I were to put a border, would you put each side the same or make like two sides the same or what do you think would be best?
I think that's personal. Like, I think either way would, if you're more of a symmetrical person, you want to keep the whole border the same, or at least, or to have 2 and 2. I think that's kind of up to you and how. So I would do a side, and I think your decision will come from it once
Okay.
you have a border.
Thank you.
Love the guitar. So that's
It's
great.
actually, I copied a guitar from online and then I enlarged it and then I cut it out and then I glued it on here.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good idea too.
Because I can't draw, so.
All right,
That's
you
what I
could have
did.
transferred it, or using the collage method is a great idea. So, yeah, I don't know if Jeannie is on, but she's good with borders. Is she there?
I don't know.
I don't see her. Okay. All right, is there anybody else?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to share? So, who's that? Hi, Marilyn. Oh, look at the M. Oh,
I finished the whoa, wrong way. The hand,
uh-huh. It's lovely.
and then I started the M. I don't know. Can I see it? Yeah.
Oh, I love
It's not
it.
finished.
That looks great. That's what you're going to work on today?
Yeah.
Okay. That looks great.
Thank you.
So, oh.
I'm never sure where to shade though. That's the.
It seems like that's the question, so I can address that today. So if we can, I can jump right into that in case, unless anybody else
Okay.
wants to share. So, all right. Nice. Oh, so Patty, owner's iPad and is holding up her mandala. Okay, I forgot about that one. Oh, that's so beautiful. I remember that now. So I gave you that. So, okay. Let me find my, one second. So I'm going to address shading first, and then I'll address color. I'm gonna bring back this. And the nice thing about shading is that it's pencil. So if you don't like it, you can erase it. You know, so that's something that, you know, you know, have that peace of mind that you can erase it. And, you know, and usually when I shade, I go around edges. So here's an example in these like circles. So if I went around this center circle, and again, I'm pretty, you know, I like to just use my hands and just get a little bit of depth there. Can you see that it kind of has like it just gives it a tiny little bit of depth, but I definitely go around some edges. So you can see that like I shaded in here. I shaded behind this petal in here. So that's where when I shade, I go around edges. And believe me, there's plenty of times I'm like, oh, that's too muddy, that doesn't look good. And then I erase it. So, you know, nothing is, it's nice that when it's just pencil, and especially the soft pencil erases nicely. So just around some edges, and it just gives it like that little bit of depth. So, you know, I hope that answers some questions. Then, because I think, you know, there's such a pleasing to the eye when there's a nice balance of black, white, and gray. So you have to kind of stop for a second and look at it and say, does it look too gray? Does it look too black? Does it look too white? And take it from there. You know, is my advice on that. So anyway, and again, if you have any questions about that, you can just like put that in the chat for me. And then as far as color, I started to play a little bit with, this is ink, you know, because it's just something that was calling to me. I kind of just grabbed some different inks that I had, and I wet the paper, and then I used a spray bottle and I sprayed it, and just to get some color on the paper first. And so it's just a technique. I think I talked to you a little bit about that first. I showed you the heart that I did that had, you know, I first treated the paper and I used all the watermarks as my shapes to Zentangle in. But I also, one of the things that I wanted to show you, and this is something that, you know, is, do you remember these like classic Papermate pens? They've been around forever and they last forever. And they're just, you know, you can get them in like any store. So I love these pens. I'm like sharing a little bit of a trade secret. I love these pens because they're water soluble. And so I can draw with them. Like, let's say, so I'm gonna do a little example here. So if I continue with my Zentangle, I'm so glad that my paper got bumpy from when I sprayed it. Can we see that? Yeah. As I say, when it lasts forever, and then this is dry. Okay. And let's see if I wanted to make some lines. All right, I can go into this with a brush, and it's almost like the shading, like along the edges. you can wet it and blend a little bit. And you can keep your pattern, you know, the brush is relatively dry. And so you can keep most of your pattern and it just kind of blends it a little bit. It's such a nice, it's like one of my favorite things to do. And the colors will, the vibrancy will remain. So that's something to do. So then also, I didn't bring up my watercolor palette, but then you can also go in and just paint right over the micron pens will stay black. So with any kind of watercolor right now, this is watercolor ink that I brought, and so I'm up in my daughter's room, so I didn't bring all my art supplies up here. But if I wanted to get some color in here, you can just kind of, you can go around, you can go over. You know, color is kind of my thing. I really do. And I don't mind that it went into my pattern. And you can go right over the shaded pencil and it'll still remain shaded and darker. So, and then like I know Robin's working on canvas. You know, if you're working on canvas, then by all means you should try working with, you know, you could do acrylic paint because then it's a little bit more forgiving. You could just kind of wipe it clean. And you can Zentangle right over acrylic paint if you apply it nice and smooth. So, but you know, adding some color sometimes, you know, the black and white, you know, that is beautiful on its own. Sometimes I like to, you know, keep some things kind of like still plain and then color other parts. Like, you know, maybe if I wanted to do the countries on this, it's supposed to be, you know, the globe, if you remember. If I want to do the countries on this kind of white and just like have the ocean in different tones. I know I had a yellow here somewhere. So that's so it's always nice to add some, you know, for me, you know, at this point I usually always work with some kind of color, but I'm looking for my yellow ink and I don't see it. All right. So I'm going to continue with my mandala, and we'll, if anybody has any questions, you can just, you know, chat it to me, and otherwise we can have some quiet time and I'll turn up the music and we could just draw. I shouldn't have any dog interruptions because she's downstairs, and believe it or not, there was a turkey in my backyard. So if you hear any strange noises, I can't believe that there was a turkey in my backyard this morning. So it was gobbling. Anyway, so I'm gonna turn up the music. And it should stop shaking because I'm not on a card table anymore. Once I finish just adjusting the, there we go. Okay.
Nancy?
Yeah.
I have a question. If I wanted to start something like that, like a tree,
Real life,
would I start with I would start with the circle, I guess.
Yes.
and then
Definitely.
start with the trunk or the branches, since it's not symmetrical.
Right. So when I did a tree of life, I did exactly that. I started with my circle, the concept of the mandala. I drew in the basic tree and the basic branches, like the, you know, the thicker ones. And then from there, kind of just went and had some fun with it. You know, so then you
Okay,
can
so
start,
the circle first, and then the,
and then you're
okay.
doodle around it. So, anybody else have any questions for me? No? Okay.
Would you do it symmetrical?
No, I don't think like the branches and the leaves and stuff. I think
No,
it looks,
no. Would I put it in the middle of the board, or would I do it off center?
oh no, well, that's kind of, I would put it in the middle of the board. Don't you think? What do you think? So, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, put it in the middle of the board. So. Okay. No, it's 10:30. I'm gonna address the idea of imperfections now. Last week somebody mentioned to me like that how it was nice to see that, you know, I had 3 bumps in one quadrant and 4 in another. And, you know, I do, there are times, you know, I see that some of these are wider and some of them are narrower and some of them are pointier and some of them, you know, and, you know, I see that that's what's happening. And there has to be a point where you're okay with your imperfections, because, you know, just like us as humans, beauty lies with our imperfections, I think. So, so there has to be a point where you kind of let go of, oh, this shape is bigger than the other, and because in the end, it all kind of just comes together. So I think, you know, as I'm doing this, I also, you know, I like the contrast of, you know, the very technical mandala, you know, with like the splattery kind of paint. It kind of has like almost like a yin yang kind of thing going on. For me is the other thing I was thinking about. So, you know, I usually at like 10:45, I open up for people to share. So we have about 10 more minutes. I don't think if anybody has any questions. I haven't gotten anything in the chat room. If you have it. I kind of wish I had my yellow. I don't know where that went.
And see, I actually did send a question in the chat room. Maybe it didn't go through.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't get a chat.
So my question was, do you have any suggestions as to what kind of pencils to buy or use?
Okay. So yeah, you know, it's funny because I was thinking like, oh, I addressed these Papermate pens and I didn't address, do you mean like watercolor pencils?
Either watercolor, or do you use like number 2s or?
Oh, okay. So for the shading, you definitely want a softer pencil. So something like, I mean, you can use a regular number 2 pencil. But if you're going to go into like an art pencil, it could be more of a 2B, 3B are the numbers that are the softer lead pencils, and they're just easy to shade. So, and as far as watercolor pencil, you know, it's, again, like as I was joining, like, I can't believe I didn't address the, you know, so many of you guys already are using watercolor pencils. I think that's why I wanted to tell you about these pens, because of course I use watercolor pencils all the time. I have no problem with Crayola products. I guess maybe it's the inner kid art teacher in me, but if you're just starting, you know, these are kind of great as far as I'm concerned. But you know, there's other brands like the Faber-Castell are a nice watercolor pencil, and so things like that. And you know, usually I like, you know, for Zentangle and anything like this, it's hard to get a crisp edge with a pencil. It's more like for color and shading. So yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, my paper, so somebody asked me, can you address the paper buckling when you wet it? So mine did too. Normally, so it kind of depends on the paper. Watercolor paper, or there's paper that's already has like glue around the edges, and you're working in it as a block, like the, you know, these, and then once you're, and it, so it stays really tight. So, so I, so a lot of times I'll work on something like that, but when, after this, what I'll do is I'll press it, you know, I'll get some weight on this, because yeah, I was a little bummed by how much it buckled. I hate saying things like this, but less expensive paper will buckle more than the, you know, sorry, the heavier weight paper. So, oh, okay, I'm back. And you know, even if you're going to wet it, even if you tape down your edges, that'll also help with that too. So.
And what about, can you talk more about how you determine the really black, you know, how you fill in really black? Is it just a matter of, I'll do this right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you know, there's definitely a point where there's, you go on instinct. I think you need to step away from your work a little bit, and like I added this part a little later, around here a little later, because it just seemed too stark. So there is an instinct and a balance that you're looking for. So it's easier to make things black later than to make things lighter. Yeah, I mean, yes, it's possible, but so I definitely think that there has to be a point where you step away, or even walk away from your work, or put it in front of you, and take a good look and just see if it's like crisp and popping out away from you. If it looks like it's muddy, like it's all kind of blending together, then you need to start getting some nice crisp dark shapes in it. Does that answer your question? Does that?
Yes, thank you.
All right. I don't know if there's anybody else here. So in about 5 minutes, I'm going to ask if anybody wants to share. Or needs advice or anything. I'm so tempted to use my.
So I have another question.
Okay.
Wait a minute, it just went out of my head. I'll come back.
That's okay. So I think, let me just check if I don't know, Katie, are you still on? I'm gonna cancel the spotlight video.
Yeah, I'm here.
I canceled my spotlight video so this way we can kind of address the group, you know, and like usual, I'm gonna see if there's anybody that wants to share or needs advice. And if you remember your question.
Okay, I remember. So let's say you wanted to put words into your Zentangle, like or something. How would you do that so they don't get lost, but they're seen?
How would you do that if you don't get lost? So yeah, you're gonna need to do that. They're gonna have to be darker than the space around it, or lighter. There needs to be a contrast with what's in the background behind it. So either they're white and your background has like a a grayish or a blackish, or they're black and you're so does that make sense?
Yes.
You need to have a contrast behind it. So but I love the idea of words. So Donna.
Yeah, so I came across 2 cards this week looking for things around the house so I found this little thank you card, so that kind of motivated me. And I also found this tulips that I liked. So I just started this now. And I experimented with a little bit of masking fluid. I don't know how that's going to come out later on. I used some of that. And to make the circles, I just went to the drawer and got some measuring spoons.
That's awesome.
To help with that and plates and stuff. So that's where we're at.
This is going to be, it's a beautiful start. I really love it. It's going to be beautiful. So that's great.
Something different. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the spotlight.
Well, now I'm embarrassed to show mine.
No. Well, you don't never have to be, you don't ever have to show, but I don't want
look how I just started it.
So is that Marilyn? Who's that?
Yeah. I don't know how clear you can see it though.
All right, wait. So you're
Marilyn's outside.
Wait, so yeah. Marilyn, oh, you have the lilies.
Lilies, and then on the outside I have that. I haven't done much.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I can't wait to see, what you do to that, because you're gonna spice that up quite a bit, I'm sure.
All right, thank you.
That's all right.
That.
All right. Who else wants to share something with me? Everything got frozen. Is there anybody else that wants to?
Well, I started.
Oh, okay, Sandy, I got you. 1 second. Sandy. Spotlight video. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. See, you're muted. I'm gonna unmute you. Unmute. Okay. Sandy. She's muted. Sandy, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I've got a wider close out like to here, and then I'll just see. I'll probably need a lot of color in this one. So
yeah, I could so see this in color, especially because you left the spaces.
Yeah.
So is that where you're thinking of putting color?
Probably in there somewhat. Yeah. So anyway, it's just yeah, like that.
I love that you have nice days that you could be outside and do this.
Yeah.
This is like the third one in a row that you're able to be outside.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
That's great. Let's see. Oh, Robin,
Sure. I started out doing it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm going to spotlight you.
Oh, I had, I started out with a tree and it started looking like an octopus. So I aborted that and I went to doing a moon and a sun.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna try to do some color, I think.
Yeah.
I guess I'll finish the mandala and Zentangle and then do the color.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, any suggestions?
I love it. I don't have suggestions. I can't wait to see the color. And
I like the idea of some words on it.
Yeah.
Where would I put the words? Down here or up here?
yeah, I think that going around the moon might be. You might have like a trailing around the arc of the moon. Might be nice.
Okay,
Some
I
more.
haven't figured that out yet, but do you do the words first or after?
It's up to you. You know, you could do it after, so this way, you know, you can kind of plan it out.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
you know, I really love that your work is statement work, that you have, you know, you're clearly saying something. So, and I hope it's helping you work things out. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Does anybody else want to share with me? I'm trying to.
Yeah, I will, Nancy. It's Jeannie.
Hi, Jeannie. 1 second.
Hi.
There you are. I don't know if you heard me mention you before.
I did, but I was I couldn't respond.
Let me spotlight you. Yeah, because I remember, when I hear borders, I think of you.
Yeah, I like. All right, I like borders a lot. I sometimes I think they're more important than the picture. That's my take on it. But I actually have a question about this. Okay, wait, I'm trying to get it. Okay, so on this is my question. Two questions. One is on the okay, this side was delineated because of the shading. So each individual section that I did was broken up sort of naturally within the picture because of the lighter gray areas. Okay, on this side, the only gray is this big area here, but I wanted to break it up more. So I just started doing it myself, and is it too muddy, or is there something I could do, because it's, you know, I'm just changing sections now. I'm arbitrary. I drew in a line which wasn't really there. I mean, I'm breaking it up myself.
Right.
So I feel like it's kind of running together. That's the first thing. And then the second question is, and then you can answer me, is down here, this pattern I thought was too big, and I was seeing it so as black when I step away. So I thought maybe I might have to put, I put some additional, try to use my white marker and try to put some extra dots in maybe, or something to do it. But as I fill it in, maybe the black isn't as bad as it was before I started to fill in. So those are my two questions.
Okay, so I'm going to personally address the black first, because, you know, if that was a person and that's a shadow, like that's under her arm area. So the fact that it's dark doesn't bother me.
Okay.
So, and then this gray area, you know, for in my vision, like it's really hard, like, to see that the pattern in it. It's kind of, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So seeing it up close, you know, that's quite lovely. And, you know, it doesn't bother me right now. Like right now, I think that you should wait until you fill in the rest of your patterns. And I would bet that it won't stand out as much as a gray or as you know what I mean? I don't think it'll stand out as much.
Okay.
Right now I'm going to tell you to keep going because
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
yeah, I think, and I love it. Yeah.
Thanks.
So,
Okay.
yay.
Thank you.
Okay. So, anybody else want to add anything? No. Looking at the side. So, where's John? Where's that rabbit? Okay. No? Need to call people out. There he is. Okay. Let me get you. It's always such a treat for me to see Spotlight. Go ahead. Ah! So you should be answering the questions on the shading because you're the master.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But because look at that. That is just gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, so it's so nice for me, like in this space, like where I'm at right now is like I'm closer to my backyard. I can hear birds. I can hear children playing. This is a nicer space for me. So it makes me feel closer to my daughter. So
I have a question, Nancy. Yeah, I'm stuck.
Okay.
I think I just need to put it away for a few days or something like that. I don't know. Can you see?
Yeah, I'm gonna spotlight you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, owners.
I'm kind of wishing I hadn't done so much black and then inside, and I'm kind of regretting that I colored these things in. I liked them better when they were white. I'm a little bit, I think I just need to put it away unless you have some ideas, anybody?
So you can put it away. That's a it's always a good idea, but I actually think you need more on the new work that you did, your outer circles. I think you actually need more contrast, so you need a little bit more black shapes to match that like half moon type of shape that you have closer towards the center.
So
like
maybe in these spots, maybe right here or something like that, where I have openings, or you think on the outside one?
Let's think about that for a minute. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna open that up to see if anybody else wants to. We have a couple more minutes. Otherwise, we can talk via email also. I can, but I was just curious if anybody has anything to add to any advice for Patty.
No.
No. Oh, Robin does. Robin, go ahead. You can talk.
I think it's gorgeous, but maybe the area that you have circling around could add a little dark to it. No, the one right below it.
This one. This
one?
Maybe
you can add some dark there because I think it's gorgeous, but I think if you wanted to add some more contrast, something dark in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually even thinking of the idea of making that strip, that whole round, the background of the whole thing black. I was actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, to really just make the whole thing. It's definitely it's a risk, but I think we could
all right. Okay.
If you just started with the thing that looks like a fence, if you start with that, maybe making it a little darker to do the
wow. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. So class is just about over, so I'm gonna, you know, say goodbye and, you know,